Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy. We're here with Paul from Survivor Millennials versus Gen X.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for speaking with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Apologize. I was swallowing a pickle.
No problem.
A pickle?
So,
okay.
Tell us how you were chosen to be on Survivor.
Quite a few years ago, a crew came down to the Keys. I'm from the Florida Keys, and they were I treasure hunt on the side. My kids and I do some treasure hunting, and they were shooting a kind of a treasure hunting pilot sizzle reel, whatever you call it. And so they had a crew come down, and they filmed us treasure hunting for like 3 days. Never went anywhere, never did anything. They packed up and they left. But while they were here, I kept talking about Survivor and that how if they really wanted to do it right, they should do it like Survivor and not have any preconceived ideas. They should just play it out, let it play out. And, one of the girls that was on the crew went to work for Survivor, and years later called me up and said, hey, are you still interested, in the show? Do you still have the long hair and all this? And we're casting for season 33 if you're interested. And that was it. I said, absolutely. She said, well, send in the tape. Let's go. So now I started from the bottom like everybody else and worked my way through the ranks. And lo and behold, there I was standing there in my underwear on live TV.
Once you found out you were going to be on, did you do anything special to prepare?
Yeah, that's a good question. Number one, you really don't ever know if you're going to be on. Not until I didn't even know where it was. So it's a very well-kept secret how they do it. The preparations I did were down here in the Keys. Obviously, I spent a lot of time outside. I stayed on an island that we have out here that's uninhabited and just kind of stayed a couple nights here and there. I learned how to make fire in every which way I could with bamboo, with flint, all these different things that I'm a fan of the show, so I tried pretty much everything. But that was about it. Mentally, physically, I stayed going to the gym. I go to the gym all the time. So I stuck with all that and kept up those regimens, but nothing prepares you for Survivor. You think you're prepared, but you're not.
Yeah.
Your heat exhaustion was scary for all of us to watch. How did you and your family handle seeing it play out on TV?
Well, it's funny you asked me that. Everybody asks me how I felt, and I'm glad you asked me that question because, number one, obviously seeing yourself on TV for the first time is pretty odd. But going into the second week, I told my family, hey, I got sick out there, so I don't know how it's going to come across. And I have twins. They're 17-year-old twins, my daughter and my son, and it chokes me up a little bit. But my wife watched through it. We were at a fundraiser at the time, and my daughter started to cry. And I was like, oh, my goodness me, I forgot that, that's her dad up there. Even though I was standing right next to her, it was still a very emotional moment for all of us because it's a scary thing when the big, tough leader of the family goes down and stays down. I was down.
Yeah.
Right. So how were you able to keep that from happening again?
Well, there was a lot of different things you could do. One of the things that I did was I double hydrated. Any opportunity I could get, I drank and drank and drank as much as I could. If I could steal a coconut, I would drink a whole coconut by myself, because we shared everything. The millennials did one thing. They were like an every man for themselves kind of tribe, and the Gen Xers, every time we did anything, any piece of food, any grain of rice, we split it up and we rationed it out. So we would open coconuts and pour the coconut milk into wooden bowls, and then we would distribute it. Everybody take a sip kind of thing. It's just not enough. It's not enough electrolyte. And it wasn't enough for me. So every once in a while, I'd grab a coconut and down one. Boy, the next day, especially after that incident, the next day you saw me jump off the platform and dive off and get the idol. I was in great shape.
We want to get your assessment of your tribe mates, get some extra insight. What can you tell us about Brett?
Brett is a Boston police officer who told us he was he told me he worked in a mortuary, and that was his thing, because he didn't want anybody to know he was a policeman. And although it's really obvious, he's a great player. He's got a great personality. He's a funny guy. He's loyal, probably to the point of his own fault. He's going to be loyal. I don't know. Hopefully he goes to the end, but I got a feeling that he might get bit because he's just such a nice guy and a loyal guy. He's going to have to break off that sooner or later.
How about Cece?
Cece and I, we struggled, the two of us. Her strategic gameplay was behind a lot of the times when we spoke. We had put together this alliance between the six of us, and she wasn't included. We had made a deal on that immunity challenge that we lost, that, with the coconut bags and all that and running across the beam, that we were going to do it just like the millennials. If you couldn't make it, you were going to drop the bag. And to her credit, she did the whole thing, but to the tribe's demise, unfortunately.
Yeah, how about Ken?
Ken Uh, Ken is like, I don't know if I've ever met anybody like Ken. He's got the spirit of an eagle, and as hard as I tried to get him to play the game, I never could connect with the guy. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he felt threatened by me or what it was, but, you know, when we formed this alliance between Chris and Brett and myself and the girls, we tried desperately to get Ken to jump in because we needed him for the challenges, and we just could not get that guy to play. He just didn't seem like he wanted to. Then I watched TV, and he's talking to different people. So maybe it was just me. I don't know. Really deep-spirited guy.
How about Invisible Lucy? What can you tell us about her?
Tell you about Invisible Lucy. Invisible Lucy is only invisible on TV. You're actually with her. She's a very visible sweetheart, great person. Great mom. She was basically the camp mom there for a while. Did a great job. She was our cook, and she took that role on herself and jumped right in, and she would make wonderful things out of what little scraps we could bring from the ocean. And by the way, I did catch plenty of fish, and so did Chris, and so did Brett. It wasn't just Ken. Lucy's fuse can be short sometimes, so I'm really anxious to see what happens next week because that fuse can get short. On occasion, I think you'll see a little louder Lucy.
So how did you feel when you found out why the girls in your alliance turned against you?
I was miserable. I mean, especially Jess. She knew better. I don't know why she did what she did. You can use. I mean, let me put it to you this way: there's nobody to blame for getting voted out than me. I mean, I said what I said, and it came out wrong, but. You know, you see it on Survivor all the time. Somebody says something stupid, and that was my stupid moment. But Jess knew better. I mean, she knew that that there wasn't going to be an all-guys thing. The problem that I ran into with Jessica is she just overanalyzed everything. And so I thought we were on the same page, and, you know, why she swapped it, you know, she got the girls to flop on me, I have no idea, but she's the one that did it to me.
How has your view of yourself changed after being on Survivor?
Well, you know, when you see yourself on TV, it's kind of weird. You don't sound the same. You don't sound what you think you sound like. You don't look like you think you look like. You know, I think I look like Ken, and I don't. So everybody thinks they look great, and you know, then you see yourself on TV in your underwear, and you go, oh my gosh, I got to get in shape. I look terrible. I'd like to think I'm not as bossy, but you know, I bet you. If you ask people who worked for me over the years, they might say that that's the way the guy is. I think what you don't see about me on there is that a lot of the things you saw me bossing around was really direction. You know, if things had to get done and nobody was doing it, I would put together a group to get things done. If we needed firewood, if we needed this, or we needed that. And some people jumped right in, and some people, you know, gave me the stink eye and said, you know, I'm not listening to that old man. So those people were not in the alliance. Paul's posse, as Ken, so I got more phone calls on Paul's posse when he called me Paul's posse. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just funny stuff. It's Survivor. It's an awesome game. It's an awesome challenge. It's the craziest thing I've ever done.
What did you feel you learned from the millennials at the summit?
Well, I learned that they really needed a Gen Xer to help them. I thought they really needed somebody, an adult, to talk to. If for nothing else, you know, I think surviving physically, they were doing just fine, but I think they really needed it because when I went over there and I jumped in the water, it's a short scene, but if you look, you see all the kids all circled around me, and because I'm the old guy, and they wanted to talk to me. They wanted to hear about, you know, they wanted somebody to tell them it's going to be okay, and they asked me some really personal questions, and I wish I would have got to the merge so I could have played with the millennials. I think we would have been great together.
Did you realize at the time that David and Cece were giving them who was in what alliance on your tribe?
No, but at that time, you got to remember, Cece and David were out. You know, we knew David had an idol. I mean, we were 99% sure he had an idol. We had a strong alliance of 6, and Chris was there with me. We talked about it, and neither one of us was concerned about what Cece or David were talking about because really all the kids wanted to talk about was the showmance between Figgy and Taylor.
So you did end up learning about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was obvious. As soon as we got there, we knew all about it, yeah. And then they told us. They told us right away.
Okay, because on the episode, they denied it initially.
Yeah, well, we knew. When we go back, we thought we knew.
Was there anything you wish had been shown about you on the show that we didn't get to see?
Well, I wish they would have shown me catching some fish, because we did. I wish they would have shown how hard we worked on getting a fire, you know, because we had one, and it went out, and so that we didn't get to see some of that. 24 hours of filming and 42 minutes of show. So what are they going to do? I mean, they've done it for 33 seasons now, and I'm still watching it. So far be it from me to criticize what they did or didn't show about me. I really don't like it when prior survivors, talk about how they were portrayed or this and that. I mean, it's spilled milk. You decided to go on the show, suck it up, Buttercup. That's what you signed up for, and 99.9% of the time, if not 100% of the time, they're right. If you come across looking like I came across, that's the guy I am. I mean, that's the way it is.
So how was your second shelter? Was it able to keep you dry from the elements?
Oh, yeah. The second time we did the shelter, we didn't do it up off the ground because, quite honestly, the bamboo was real brittle. So it was really hard with the size of us. You got to remember, Brett's big, I'm big, Chris is big. So just the three of us alone, Chris went on one end, I went on the other. And then we got it about 4 inches off the ground on our second shelter, and we did much better, except when the chicken ran through the shelter on fire. That was kind of crazy.
What was that?
The chicken ran through the shelter on fire?
They were little birds on the island that would live in holes, and they'd run around, and they'd wait until the middle of the night, and they'd come out of their holes, and they'd run through the camp. And it would scare David so much he would scream. And one time, one ran right past the fire, and one of his feathers, it didn't catch on fire or nothing. Just, I don't know if he was dragging a leaf or whatever, but ran right underneath the back of our shelter. And then ran out and kind of ran. It was crazy. It's the middle of the night. We got birds running across us, and the wonderful things of Survivor that you never get to. Some of the things that are only going to be in our memory banks. But if you ever get a chance, ask David about that bird, and he'll tell you. He screamed so loud it was funny.
Hey, Paul, what's next for you?
Well, I'm a marine mechanic down here in the Keys, and I work on boat motors all day, and I've got 2 great kids, and my daughter's about to go off to college, and I think probably next for me is getting my son set up in business. So I have an older son who lives up in Pennsylvania. He's a fireman, and I really do foresee myself building a business, making sure my kids are stable. And once they do that, my wife and I are probably going to go back on the road. We used to live in a motorhome, and we used to homeschool our kids and drive around the country. And I would say over the next 10 years, I can see that happening again. I can see us getting to a certain point where our kids are stable and they're doing well, and then my wife and I can go back out, and some people light a punk, some people light a candle, some people use a flamethrower. I'm more of a flamethrower kind of guy.
Are you still in the cover band? You still doing that?
Oh, yeah, the band is, we play just about every weekend. Now, with my notoriety, we're playing more, which is kind of weird, when people that want your autograph, and they know who you are. You're like, I'm just that same guy, right? And we had fans on my front yard the other day, Saturday morning.
Wow. What's your band's name?
Haywire. Haywire. Haywire.
Got it.
All right. Well, Paul, thank you for sharing your stories with us today, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking me. I really enjoyed the interview.
Yeah, we did too. Good luck to you and your family.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.